There are currently 29 items of hero equipment in Clash of Clans, and today I'm going to rank every one of them as quickly as possible. We're going to do it for each individual hero, not just on its own strength, but also how well it pairs with other bits of hero equipment. And the worst Barbarian King hero equipment, coming in at number 7, is obviously the Barbarian Puppet. Don't put ores into it. You're never going to use it. Even at the lower Town Hall levels, you're not going to use this hero equipment. At number 6, I really hate to say this, but it is the Vampstache. Now, today's rating will be across all Town Hall levels. The Vampstache is quite strong, or is reasonable at Town Hall 9 up to about Town Hall 13. But still, if you've got any of the other hero equipment, I would recommend that over this, even at the lower levels. Next up, at number 5, we have the Snake Bracelet. This is one of the worst epic equipment in the game, but it still does have really nice passive stats. As you can see here, I don't even have mine maxed, obviously. Why would I waste the ores? But 3,000 extra hit points, and you get the attack speed increase, and obviously the DPS increase, and the snake. So, I mean, the stats are good, but we all know the hero equipment itself is kind of average. At number 4, we have the Rage Vial. This is such a nice piece of hero equipment because it complements basically everything. There is no situation where it's not going to help the second item of hero equipment you've got. The main issue with it, it's just not insanely strong compared to the other ones, but a great complementary piece. You can use it with basically everything, and that's why I've got it above the Snake Bracelet, because it pairs well with a lot of other hero equipment. At number 3, we've got the Giant Gauntlet. This is insanely strong, and if you have the right conditions for this hero equipment, it can be the best hero equipment in the game. But you need the right conditions. You need really compact bases and no walls in the way. And the first 2 hero equipment for the Barbarian King kind of don't worry about walls whatsoever, because at number 2, we've got the Earthquake Brutes. This probably would have been number 1 pre-update, but it did get a little bit of a nerf. Still incredibly strong though, because the King's biggest weakness is walls, and they are completely removed with this hero. But at number 1, obviously, it's the Spiky Ball. Just the fact that you can do up to, that is about 26,000 damage is the maximum you can do, and that is an insane amount of damage. You also get really nice passive boosts. Don't have to worry about walls whatsoever. So this, for me, is the best hero equipment to spend your ores on with the King. Basically, any of the top 3, so that's Spiky Ball, Earthquake Brutes, Giant Gauntlet, worth putting your ores into, because you don't need to use any of the other 4. Now let's move on to the Archer Queen, and at number 6, it's obviously the Archer Puppet. Same exact thing as the Barbarian Puppet. We're not going to waste any more time on that. At number 5, we have the Invis Vial. Now, this is going to seem counterintuitive because it is actually a really strong piece of hero equipment. But the problem with it is it can kind of be completely replaced by the Magic Mirror. The Magic Mirror does basically the same thing. You get the Invis for a second, but you get more damage out of the Magic Mirror. So there's just next to no case scenario where you should use the Invis Vial instead of the Magic Mirror if you've got that leveled up. And because of that, it does make the Invis Vial a little redundant. Definitely worth using if you don't have the Magic Mirror, and if you don't, put some ores into this because you're going to use it a lot of the time. But if you have the Magic Mirror, I would definitely recommend putting your ores into that. At number 4, we have the Frozen Arrow. Now, the Frozen Arrow on paper is incredible. That extra DPS is insane, and so is the slowdown effect, but it's just, you know, we're not often in the best attack strategies. The Queen isn't going into the center of the base where the Frozen Arrow is really nice. Generally, the Queen's on the outside of the base where some of the other hero equipment that's left on this list do far better than her, because the Frozen Arrow really isn't doing much if she's shooting trash buildings. At number 3, we have got the Magic Mirror. This hero equipment is really strong. You do need to know how to use it though, right? Just because you pop the ability doesn't mean your clones or the original Queen herself are particularly safe. So that's why I've got it at number 3 here. It is strong and really nice, but you do need a little bit of skill, because if you don't keep the mirror clones alive, well, then you may as well use the Invis Vial. At number 2, we do have the Giant Arrow. This is just good at all Town Hall levels. At the lower Town Hall levels, you use it with Zap Dragon attacks, or really any attack to get rid of the air defenses, any air attack that is, which is obviously insane value because there's not a lot of anti-air targeting defenses at the lower town halls. And then basically once you get to town hall 15 or higher, you start using it to activate invis towers. And if you can do that or still get rid of sweepers and air defenses, then there's not really a lot that can be done to stop your air spam attack strategies. And at number 1, no surprise really, is the Healer Puppet. Just the ability to generate free healers for your Archer Queen. 3 of them at max is kind of ludicrous, particularly because they are maxed out. You also get the self-healing and a nice hit point increase, and like you can use this ability whenever. You can use it straight at the start of the battle with your giant arrow. You can use it a bit later if you've got the magic mirror. It is perfect for all situations. There is no attack strategy that isn't stronger with the Healer Puppet, and that's why I've got it at number 1 for what you should invest your Archer Queen ores into. Basically though, any of the top 3 hero equipment, yet again, magic mirror, giant arrow, Healer Puppet, will cover you for every single army in the game. Now for me, the Minion Prince hero equipment was probably the most difficult to rank because they're all kind of reasonable. But at number 4, I did have the Metal Pants, and the reason for this is it's just not very flexible. Most of you use the Minion Prince with your air spam attack strategies, and this doesn't really support the rest of your units. It just makes your Minion Prince really tanky, but half the time the dragons, dragon riders, electro dragons in front of the Minion Prince are tanking for him anyway, so it's not a good support hero equipment, and it's not really that necessary for the Minion Prince anyway. You also don't get any extra DPS. It does go really well with the Noble Iron though, and we'll keep that in mind, because at number 3, I do have the Henchmen Puppet. Now this is kind of like the Hog Puppet for the Royal Champion. It is the ultimate defensive hero equipment. We get the Invis, we get some health recovery, we get some units in front to tank. We also get an insane DPS upgrade, which cannot be overlooked. The Minion Prince does so much damage as is. Yeah, 188 is insane. At number 2, I do have the Noble Iron. Now, this is the newest hero equipment for the Minion Prince, and we're still kind of figuring out the capabilities of this. And if people figure out some insane tricks with it, this could go to number 1, because it's not just about those long shots. It's about that 17% attack speed increase. The Minion Prince does so much damage. 17% is kind of ludicrous to think about. But I think the downside of this is unless you're using the jelly on the Minion Prince, he's going to target trash buildings, and it doesn't really work with spam attack strategy, so it is slightly inflexible compared to the number 1 Minion Prince hero equipment, which is the Dark Orb. You can use this in every single attack, spam, Minion Prince charge, you name it. This will always improve your attack. It's just insane. The range of it cannot be understated. But for me, it comes down to what you're going to use your Minion Prince for. Because if you're going to do Minion Prince charges, then even though I had the Metal Pants as the weakest equipment, I would recommend you put the ores into that, because that's the combination you use. So Minion Prince charges, you'll use Noble Iron, Metal Pants, put your ores into that. If you're not going to do Minion Prince charges, then I'd recommend Dark Orb and Henchmen Puppet, and then maybe the Noble Iron once you've got the 2 of them leveled up. Now let's move on to the Grand Warden, and obviously the weakest Grand Warden hero equipment is the Lavaloon Puppet. It's just trash, and I was actually playing with it today, and one of the biggest things is just the Lavaloons are so slow. Even if you spawn them, they're not necessarily going to get out in front and tank, or get some air traps off the base. Just completely useless. Do not put your ores into it. I haven't maxed it out for a reason. At number 5, I hate to say this because I love the life gem, but it has to be the life gem, because the meta at the moment isn't low HP troops. If the Lalo or Hogs or Miners become meta, then this will be one of the strongest hero equipment. But at the moment, it's Root Riders, it's Dragons, it's all high HP troops. So the life gem kind of gets relegated to number 5. At number 4, this was tough. I went with the Healing Tome. The Healing Tome is insanely strong, but it doesn't have the same flexibility as the Rage Gem. The Rage Gem you can use in every single attack, so if you put your ores into it, doesn't really matter. You're going to be able to use it no matter what. If you're doing a Warden charge, you can use it. If you're doing a spam attack, you can use it. If you're doing a hero dive, you can use it. It's basically only E-Dragons that don't like the Rage Gem, whereas the Healing Tome, can't use it in as much, but it still is really strong. And when you do use it, oh my word, it is amazing. It's probably actually stronger than the Rage Gem, but because it's less flexible in the attack strategies you use, I don't consider it as valuable to put your ores into. But if you know you're going to use the Healing Tome in your attack strategies, then, I mean, put your ores into it. I mean, look at it. Those stats are ridiculous. We mostly talked about the Rage Gem there. I'll show you the stats. I mean, 50% damage increase is insane. Works amazingly with Fireball attack strategies and a lot of spam as well. At number 2, I have the Fireball. The Fireball is ridiculous. It's one of the best hero equipment in the game. Definitely one of the best since hero equipment came to the game. Yeah, the ability to do 4,100 damage to such a huge radius. Yeah, you just can take out the highest value part of the base too easily. But obviously at number 1, you got to have the Eternal Tome. Just the ability to negate 8 seconds of damage, or at lower levels, even like, I'm pretty sure a level 12 Eternal Tome is still like 6.5 seconds. The ability to negate that much damage at lower town halls and 8 seconds at higher town halls is the best hero equipment in the entire game, and I don't think anyone can argue against that. And then we finish with the Royal Champion, and the weakest Royal Champion hero equipment is the Royal Gem here. I really like the Royal Gem, but it is a defensive hero equipment, and the Hog Puppet just does everything the Royal Gem does, but better. So why would you ever use the Royal Gem? Obviously, if you're at Town Hall 13 and you don't have access to the other hero equipment, you might have to use this if you don't have both epics. But even then, it's just, look, it's okay, and it will never be more than that unless they increase the DPS to like 200. Then it might be in the conversation. Next up, we have the Seeking Shield. It's not insane, but it pairs extremely well with the Rocket Spear, and that's why I have it above the Royal Gem, because its stats, it's kind of weak, but great synergy with that hero equipment to do ultimate damage. At number 4, I have to have the Hog Puppet. Now, I actually think the Hog Puppet is extremely strong, but the meta we're in at the moment, which is a Haste Vial Electro Boots meta, yeah, those have to go above this because that is the entire meta we've had for the last 3 months in Clash of Clans. So the Hog Puppet goes down, but trust me, your ores are not wasted in this hero equipment. It is still really nice, and it's the ultimate defensive hero equipment, which is what your Royal Champion needs, because she'll often get in trouble because she is quite nimble and fast. At number 3, I do have the Haste Vial here, because obviously, yes, it is insanely strong in the meta at the moment, and yeah, it pairs amazingly with the Electro Boots. But if you're not using that in that strategy, yes, it is strong, but the Royal Champion will often get into a lot of trouble using this, because she will go so quickly that she'll get in front of the troops, and she's not much of a tank herself. So there are weaknesses to the Haste Vial. The reason it worked really well in the past is because the Hog Puppet kind of defended for her. At number 2, I do have the Rocket Spear. Yes, it doesn't pair well with the Electro Boots, but in of itself, it's crazy. You do so much damage from range, and there's not really much the base can do to counter it other than hope a skeleton trap spawns and tanks some of the spears. But at number 1, inevitable. This thing will be insane. Even if the aura damage goes down to 125, I still think this will be the number 1 Royal Champion hero equipment, because it just makes the Royal Champion have no counters whatsoever. And this is absolutely what I'd be putting my ores into, because it's not just good for Royal Champion charges. You can use it in basically every attack strategy, except, you know, ones where you want the damage equipment from the Royal Champion, that is the Rocket Spear and the Seeking Shield. Every other attack strategy, you gotta run the Eboots. They are broken. I tried to keep this as short as possible. Let me know if you disagree. Like I said, my rankings today are based on what I think is the most value to you across all Town Hall levels, based on synergy and strength, but would be interested to see if you disagree.